Good afternoon. I'm Stuart Dorby. I am the energy correspondent for Military Television. I'm also the editor and publisher of greenbarrel.com, a website dedicated to encourage investment into renewable energy companies. Today I'd like to talk about the crisis we've got with energy pricing and etc. It's not the first time we've had an energy crisis. In 1974, Edward Heath had to declare a 3-day week, and we were all sitting in kitchens trying to heat some soup over candles, and that really caused the coal miners were involved. Following that, people got a bit disenchanted with coal and felt that gas was the real product because there was plenty of it in the North Sea. So scroll on, and in the early 80s, the government decided that it would privatise the energy companies, which in my estimation was a very stupid thing to do. But what it did do is create an oligopolistic cartel, not a monopoly, but an oligopolistic cartel. Namely, there were 6 big energy companies that actually controlled the market, in the sense that 85% of Britain is heated by gas, and they were able to charge just what they flipping well wanted for their tariffs on, which would affect domestic consumers. Scroll on further, and it became a political issue, and Ed Miliband, who was the leader of the Labour Party at that stage in 2012, said if he gets into power, he would actually introduce an energy cap, which meant you couldn't put the price up too much. And he didn't get into power. David Cameron did in 2015. He didn't talk about the energy cap, but it did spook him. The idea spooked him. So he asked the Competition and Mergers Authority, one of the government bodies, what he should do. And they said, why don't you tell everybody to go to cheaper suppliers? Well, there weren't that many around, but they suddenly developed, chancellors, adventurers, all kinds of people. And there were 20 companies which were offering sweetheart deals, much cheaper than the big 6 started. And that wasn't. But the CMA did take a long time to report. And time went on, Mr. Cameron wasn't anymore a Prime Minister, and it was left to Mrs. May, and she brought in an energy cap in 2018. Well, it worked for a little while, but in 2021, the energy cap was run by Ofgem, the government letter, and by 2021, they do 2 dates a year when they would change the energy cap. One was April 1 and October 1. And in 2021, in April, they put the charge up by 10%. And in October 2021, they put it up by 12%. That was 22% increase in your home tariffs, in their price. Okay, and that meant that what happened was that an annual tariff for a 3-bedroom house was $2,677, but there was worse to come. The gas price was flying exponentially, and Martin Lewis, the famous, well-known, respected TV pundit, said that I reckon come next April 1, 2022, there'll be another £700 onto the tariff. That will mean the average tariff for everybody would be £2,000. That's a lot of money for some people. And it meant that they would have to go into fuel poverty. And Martin Lewis and another television thing said, with the general inflation and food prices going up, a lot of people might die of starvation. And those who don't will freeze to death. So the government, the present government, was nonplussed, which means chaotic. Don't know what they would do. And they actually said, right, we're going to abolish the VAT on energy, 5%. That's 100 quid. And then we'd get rid of the green VAT levies, another 100 quid, 10%. And then they said, well, we've got the warm houses system project, which meant that people who were poor and vulnerable would get £140 reduction of their bill. And they said we could extend that. And that meant basically there are 28,000.5 homes in the UK, and the warm tariff thing extended to 2,007. So the scope there to actually do something about reducing tariffs. And then whoopsie-daisy, last week the government, which was really all over the place with this, came up with another thing which is called a contract for difference. And many of you won't know what this means because it's quite complicated. But each party, the government and the energy companies on the other hand, agree a fixed price of what it should be. Okay? And if the gas price goes on above the agreed price, the government has to pay the difference. If it goes below, the companies would have to pay the difference back to the government. And this is a system that has worked terribly well for renewable energy companies, wind power in particular. They agree a price of which they would be built. And if the price started going well over that, then the government would have to pay. If it went below, then the wind power companies would have to pay. But the thing is, it never did go below. So the wind power was just coining it and getting the government subsidy, which means the taxpayers, to actually build the flipping things and give the wind power. So it's very good. Now, we have to wait and see now whether this is going to work for the government. Because if the gas price keeps going up, they're going to have to pour lots and lots more money in. So we don't know. It's only a week old, the idea. But it's very, very interesting. And let's hope it works, because tariffs of 2,000 people are not sustainable without fuel poverty and real problems about meeting the bills. They are very dangerous times. Don't underestimate them. Sorry to end on such a note, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you very much.